Hello students, welcome back. Today I am going to teach you chapter 4, Globalization and the Indian economy, and this is the second part. And this second part I will continue with the liberalization of the foreign trade and foreign investment. And here this part I have already completed in my first video that has been uploaded, and right now I am continuing from this topic today. So let's start the discussion of the liberalization of the foreign trade and foreign investment. First of all, I want to tell you that liberalization means just giving total freedom in the foreign trade and foreign investment. There are many companies across the world who are willing to do the business with the various countries, like many foreign countries are willing to come to India for making business. And if liberalization policy was accepted, that means these companies will come deliberately for making business. Initially, after the independence, this liberalization policy was not there, but later in the last 2 decades, means 20 years, you have seen there was a good policy has been adopted of the liberalization. Means this Indian government has allowed the foreign companies to make business here, and in this way the economy of India become developed so a lot. And so let's discuss this chapter. Here it is told that Chinese toys, first of all, they are making business in India and destroying the Indian market of making toys. Many toy making companies become destroyed of the Chinese product, because this Chinese product were selling in the cheap price, and in this way they are doing business. But what happened, to those who wish to improve the toys would have to pay tax on this. Because of this tax, buyers will have to pay a higher price on imported toys, and Chinese toys will no longer be as cheap in Indian markets, and Indian markets, and imports from China will automatically be reduced. In this way, the government of India has changed the plan, and the government has imposed tax on the imported items like China toys. In this way, China toys are not making business in India, and that means if the tax is imposed, that means the price of the product will be increased, and the market price will be increased of this product. Similarly, they cannot do business here in India. Next point, it is told that tax on imports is an example of the trade barrier. So what is trade barrier? Trade barrier means obstacle in the way of trade. Tax on imports is an example of the trade barrier. It is called barrier because some restrictions has been taken up, and like government can use trade barriers to increase or decrease the or regulate the foreign trade, and to increase what kinds of goods and how much of each should come to our country. Sometimes, so time to time, the government of India has decided or has done the trade barrier, means some obstacle in doing business in coming to India. That means this is one type of checking that the government of India is doing. This is one type of increasing and decreasing the product which should come and which should not come. Indian government after the independence had put barriers on the foreign trade and foreign investment. This was considered necessary to protect the producers within the country from the foreign competition. Actually, many foreign companies are coming to India. That means they are destroying the local market of India. In this way, to protect the local market and local companies from the foreign competition, the Indian government has done this for these trade barriers. And during the 1950s and 1960s, many industries was set up. Many industries were set up, and competitions from the imports that at that stage would not have allowed the industries to come up. During 1950s and 1960s, Indian government did not allow some outsider companies to come to India and make business. Thus, India allowed only some products. Which products India allowed at the time? India allowed only fertilizers, petroleum, and machinery, these items, and little more items also. Not many items, but limited items they allowed to come to India and making business. And It is around 1991, you can see some far reaching changes in the policy were made in India. The government decided that the time had come for Indian producers to compete with the producers around the globe. Now, it felt that the competition would improve the performance of the producers within the country, since they would have to improve their quality, and this decision was supported by powerful international organization. So, up around 1991, the government of India has decided to support the local companies, so that the local companies can come with the competition and they increase their product value and the quality also improve. In this way, these Indian companies can come up as a big company. Thus, the barriers of the foreign trade and foreign investments were removed to a large extent. After that, the government of India had removed the trade barriers in a large extent. This means goods could be imported and exported easily. Also, foreign companies could set up factories and offices here. If trade barriers are removed, that means other side or outsiders can come easily for doing business. Removing trade barriers or restrictions set by the government is what is known as liberalization. If you ask what is known as liberalization, then you have to say removing or taking off the barriers or restrictions set by the government is what is known as liberalization. Liberalization means total freedom given to the trade for making their business in the different markets. With liberalization or the trade, businesses are allowed to make decisions freely about what they wish to import or export. Now, after the liberalization, the producers can export and import their product easily. The government imposes much less restriction than before and is therefore said to more liberal. It is not completely liberal, but partial liberal, means some taxes are there, but it was not so much high as it was in the earlier times. Now, the topic is World Trade Organization. It is an organization that controls the world trade market. Actually, some rich countries are there who takes the responsibility of the world trade. We have seen liberalization of the foreign trade and foreign investment in India was supported by some very powerful international organizations. These organizations say that all the barriers to the foreign trade and foreign investment are harmful. Actually, if the government of a country is imposing trade barrier, that is very harmful for the country development and economic development. It is the view of the some trade organization or World Trade Organization. There should be no barriers for development of the country. There should be no barriers. Trade between countries should be free. All countries in the world should liberalize their policies. World Trade Organization, short form WTO, is one such organization whose aim is to liberalize international trade, started at the initiative of the developed countries. Many developed countries are there members of this World Trade Organization, and nearly it was last record of 2014, the members of WTO were 160 countries are there, and basically these are the rich countries. They participate and become the member of this World Trade Organization. Though World Trade Organization is to allow free trade for all, in practice it is seen that the developed countries have unfairly retained trade barriers. Some other countries are there, developed countries are there, they are imposing still now some trade barriers. That is very harmful for. On the other hand, WTO rules have forced the developing countries to remove the barriers. Some developed countries are imposing barriers, but developing countries are following the rules of WTO. An example of this is the current debate is, so Why should the developing country follow the rule of WTO but rich countries are not following? Some rich countries are not allowing outsiders to come and make business, but still now the developing countries are allowing in the hope to become successful and develop one day. This, this debate on trade practices you can read at home from the book. Next point I am going to discuss about impact of globalization in India. In this best, what happened in the last 20 years, globalization of the Indian economy has come a long way. What has been effect of the lives of the people? So what happened in the last 20 years, globalization has been imposed on the Indian economy, and that is very good implication for the Indian market. Globalization means the integration of the business, and various companies came to India for making business. Globalization and the greater competition among the producers, both local and the foreign producers, has been globalization and the greater competition among the producers, both local and foreign producers, has been of advantage to the consumers, particularly well-off sections in the urban areas. So, in the city life, due to the globalization, there is a competition in the market, and many products are selling in a cheap price, but quality is high. So, the consumers are getting benefit from this competition. Basically, the rich families, well-off sections in the urban or city life, there is a greater choice before these consumers who now enjoy improved quality and lower prices for several products. As a result, the people today enjoy much higher standards of living than it was possible earlier, because in the earlier times people did not have much choice and they only have to satisfy themselves with some limited choice, but people can access now better quality and cheap price products that is easily accessible in the market. Among the producers and workers, the impact of the globalization has not been uniform. So you can see on one hand there is a producer, on the other hand there is a worker, and it is the producers, they are constantly keeping pressure on the workers. The workers are not getting proper job environment, not getting proper salary, they are getting reduced salary, and producer keeping pressure on the workers in this way. The impact is not going on due to this globalization, because producers are always finding some cheap place, cheap products, as well as cheap workers, basically labor and skilled labor, unskilled labor. In this way their job condition is very poor. Firstly, what is the impact of the globalization? First point has been given, like MNCs have increased their investment in India over the past 20 years. So how many years? Past 20 years, which means investing in India has been beneficial for them. MNCs have been interested in industries such as cell phones, automobiles, electronics, soft drinks, fast food, or services such as banking in urban areas. These products have a large number of well-off buyers. Actually, MNC companies are taking or launching such products that are very much attractive, like mobile phones, automobiles, electronics, soft drinks, and fast food services like banking sector and insurance sector. These companies are coming and doing business because they know there are many customers here, they can attract the customers towards them. These products have a large number of well-off buyers in these industries and services. New jobs have been created. Not only the products are coming side by side with the products, some new job opportunities are coming to the youths, and people are getting job. Also, the local companies supplying raw materials, etc., to these industries have prospered. Not only that, they are giving job to the job seekers, but also that some local companies are getting benefit from this MNCs. So which are the first benefit? You can see that MNCs are providing latest technology, latest machinery, and fastest production, huge production, varieties of production, and attractive products. They are giving jobs to the job seekers. Side by side, local companies are also getting benefit from it. Steps to attract foreign investment. In recent years, I would like to now explain SEZ, special economic zones. Special economic zones. Actually, special economic zones is like a field or area where people can get attracted, like businessmen can get attracted by this special area because some special facilities has been given in this special economic zone. Those businessmen or producers will come to join in this special economic zones. Basically, the industrial employers are the coming into the special economic zones, and these people will obviously getting the facility of the electricity, water, road, transport, storage, and recreational and educational facilities. Companies who set up educational units in the sage sorry companies who set up production units in the sage do not have to pay taxes for initial how many years? 5 years. They don't have to pay taxes. Such companies which are coming to set up their factories in special economic zone, they don't have to pay taxes for 5 years, initial 5 years. This is like a special attractive package. It was declared by central as well as local government, that is the state government. Here you can see that it is the special initiative taken by both the governments, and it is only a package to attract the outside some producers to make business here with and participate and make their industry here in the special economic zones, so that they can get attracted with this package. In the package, what is given? World class facilities. Which are these? Electricity, water, road, transport, storage, recreational means entertainment, educational facilities, and these are coming. Government has also allowed flexibility in the labor law to attract the foreign investment. Not only that, the government has also given the flexibility in the labor laws to attract the foreign investment. So there has been change in the labor law policy, and actually the producers are wanting more flexibility in the labor law, and seeing this partial change in the labor law, they are getting attracted. In the organized sector, you see that companies in the organized sector have to obey certain rule and regulation that are given by the government, because organized sector companies are related to government, and government rule regulation they must have to follow, and the government has allowed companies to ignore many of these. Instead of hiring workers on the regular basis, some big companies, what they are doing, they are taking the workers in the flexible manner, means short time basis. They are not keeping them for the permanent basis, but for the short time basis or temporary basis. So it is the one type of pressure is being created by the producers on the worker. So you cannot say that globalization is totally helpful and healthy. Next point. Secondly, several of the top Indian companies have been able to benefit from the increased competition. Many companies are getting, top Indian companies are getting benefit from this competition, and they have invested in newer technology and production methods and raised their production. Many Indian companies raise their production by investing a lot by latest technologies. Some have gained the successful collaborations with the foreign companies. Some local companies also get the helping hand of the some foreign companies. In this way, some local companies become very much demanding. Globalization has enabled some large Indian companies to emerge as multinational company. Some companies become multinational, like you know very well. It is the Tata Motors. Globalization has enabled some large Indian companies to emerge as multinational themselves, like Tata Motors, Automobiles, Infosys, that is coming in IT, Ranbaxy, this is medicine company, Asian Paints, and Sundaram Fasteners, that is nuts and bolts. These companies are emerging as a good and healthy companies, multinational, and are some of the Indian companies which are spreading their operations worldwide. Globalization also created new opportunities for companies providing services. So, what is provided by the globalization? Globalization has also created new opportunities for the companies providing services, particularly those involving IT. The Indian companies producing magazine for the London-based company and call centers are some examples. Best, besides a host of services such as data entry, accounting work, administrative tasks, engineering are now being done cheaply in countries such as India and are exported to the developed countries. So globalization is giving these facilities like different types of job opportunity facilities. Basically, IT sectors are giving, like magazine making company, Indian companies making magazine for London. In this way, Indian people are getting job in the various ways. Competition and uncertain employment. Here in this page you can see globalization and the pressure of the competition. You can see globalization and the pressure of competition have substantially changed the lives of the workers. Faced with the growing competition, most employers these days prefer to employ workers' flexibility, and this means the workers' job are no longer secure. If the workers are used as a flexible way, that means flexible means not permanent. That means their working condition, their working atmosphere become non-permanent, and in this way some workers may lose their job. So one hand, when the globalization is giving lot of things to the people, on the other hand only the workers are become destitute. Large MNCs in the garment industry in the Europe and America order their products from the Indian exporters. You know, this is the example given. Some great and good European American garment companies, um, they are actually giving work to the Indian companies for making some making product, and these MNCs with worldwide network look for the cheapest goods in order to maximize their profit. Actually, they are wanting their goods or product in the cheap price so that they can make the huge profit. It is their motto or motivation. To get these large orders, Indian garment exporters try hard to cut their own cost. Actually, they cannot cut short the raw material cost because they had to pay this. But if the employees' salary can be reduced, then they can make the profit. In this way, where earlier a factory used to employ workers on the permanent basis, that thing is not doing this time, because this time it is temporary basis, so that they do not have to pay workers for the whole year. Workers also have to put a very long working hours, work night shifts on the regular basis during the peak seasons, and wages are low, and workers are forced to work overtime to make the both ends meet. Here, uh, the working condition, their atmosphere is not so much good, because they have to work hard day and night overtime, as well as their salary is low, because actually uh, they are actually burdened to their family, and they had to run their family. That's why they are doing in this way. MNCs are making profit, but some working class people are not getting any benefit from it. Now this is the last part, ending part I'm going to tell you. The struggle for the fair globalization means what the people are wanting. The people are wanting fair globalization or good globalization. You have seen the two impacts of the globalization. Globalization is giving a lot of things to the people, but what all people are getting are equal, but is equal, not equal, because some working class people are not getting. So the above evidence indicates that not everyone has benefited from the globalization. People with education, skill and wealth have made best use of new opportunities. On the other hand, there are many people who have not shared the benefits. Many people are there, they are not getting benefits, but it is only the skillful people, wealthy people and educated people are getting benefit from it. Since globalization is now a reality, the question is how to make globalization more fair. If globalization is only the way, then how to make the globalization a good way? Fair globalization would create opportunities for all and also ensure that benefits of the globalization are shared better. If you want to make if you want to make the globalization fair or good, then you have to make the share in the good way. You have to share its profit or its benefit among all the people equally. The government can play a major role in taking this responsibility. Its policies must the interest must protect the interest not only the rich and the powerful but also all the people of the country, and the government should come forward to make these policies better. Like the government can ensure that the labor laws are properly implemented. The government should look forward or look properly whether these labor laws are working properly or not. It can support small producers to improve their performance till the time they become strong enough to compete. If necessary, the government can use trade and investment barriers. If time has come to make the trade barriers, then the government can also make the trade barriers to stop the business of outsider for some time. It can negotiate the WTO fair rules. The government should also negotiate with the WTO, World Trade Organization, for the fair rules. It can also align with other developing countries with a similar interest to fight against the domination of the developed countries in the world WTO. In the World Trade Organization, you know very well, there are some rich countries and they are not listening to the poor countries. So in this way, we have to motivate or take up some policies, and we have to align with the rich countries that these rich countries are adopting. In the past few years, massive campaigns and representation by the people of organizations have influenced important decisions relating to trade and investment at WTO. So in the past few years, what happened? Many campaigns, many protestations have been done so that WTO, World Trade Organization, can listen to it, and it has worked a lot in some extent, and this has demonstrated that people can also play an important role in the struggle for the fair globalization. Now the time has come, the people should come forward and raise their voice to the WTO rich members or the rich country members, so that they can also listen to the problem of all the people, and they should share their profit and their benefits among all the people. In this way, globalization will be successful and our country will be developed. Now the chapter has been finished. I will come in the next video with some more important questions. Till then, goodbye to all of you.